Women, the nurturing ones, the supportive ones, the ones who uplift a man and bring stability to his life. But today I want to take you to the other side of the spectrum. We must also learn to identify the patterns of women who do not bring peace, who do not bring growth, but instead bring chaos, confusion, and destruction to one's emotional well-being. Now let's be clear from the very beginning. When I say bad women, I am not labeling all women or suggesting that women are naturally flawed. No, what I mean by bad women are those whose behavioral patterns repeatedly harm the people around them, especially in relationships. And the truth is, if you can recognize the signs early, you save yourself from years of emotional damage. The first sign is manipulative behavior. Such women do not use honesty or respect to get what they want. Instead, they play with emotions. They know how to make you feel guilty, how to twist your words, how to make you doubt yourself, and how to get things done in their favor. At first, it may look like intelligence, but in reality, it is toxic manipulation. The second sign is a lack of respect. Respect is the foundation of every healthy relationship. If she mocks your values, belittles your dreams, or ignores your boundaries, it's not love, it's control. Bad women often have a pattern of disregarding others because deep down, they only value their own needs. The third sign is dishonesty. Relationships cannot survive without trust. A woman who constantly lies, hides things, or manipulates the truth creates a foundation of insecurity. You start questioning everything, where she was, who she was with, and whether her words are even real. That constant doubt drains the relationship and eventually destroys it. The fourth sign is excessive self-centeredness. Everyone has the right to care for themselves, but when a woman always puts herself first, never compromises, and never considers her partner's feelings, then it becomes toxic. In her world, it is always about her happiness, her needs, her emotions, and there is no space for anyone else. When we talk about manipulative behavior, we need to understand that it is not always loud, it is not always visible, and it is not always easy to detect. In fact, manipulation is one of the most subtle and dangerous signs of a bad woman. It is a behavioral pattern where she does not use honesty, respect, or direct communication to express her needs or desires. Instead, she uses emotional tactics to twist situations in her favor. And the reason this is so dangerous is because at first you don't even realize it is happening. You simply feel like something is off, but you can't explain it. Over time, however, you start to see the consistent use of guilt, silent treatment, emotional blackmail, and charm that keeps you trapped in a cycle. Imagine a situation where you want to set a boundary. Maybe you want to spend time with your family or focus on your work. But instead of respecting that, she makes you feel guilty for not giving her attention. She may say things like, "If you really loved me, you wouldn't do this," or "Other men would choose me over work." This is not love. This is emotional pressure. A manipulative woman knows exactly which words to use, which weaknesses to press, and which emotions to trigger in order to get what she wants. At first, it may feel like she is simply being expressive, but in reality, it is a calculated way of control. One of the strongest tools of manipulation is gaslighting. This is when she makes you doubt your own reality. For example, if you confront her about something hurtful, she said, she might respond with, "I never said that. You are imagining things," or "You are too sensitive. You always overreact." Over time, this makes you question your own memory, your own feelings, and even your own sanity. You start to believe that maybe you are the problem. Maybe you are the one who is difficult when in truth, she is the one distorting reality. This is not just unhealthy, it is deeply damaging to your self-esteem. Another manipulative tactic is the silent treatment. Instead of having a mature conversation, instead of resolving conflict with openness, she punishes you with silence. Hours, sometimes days of ignoring you until you bend, until you apologize for something you may not have even done. And because humans crave connection, you eventually give in, not because you were wrong, but because the silence feels unbearable. This is how she conditions you to always give her the power in the relationship. Then there is the use of charm. Some bad women know how to switch instantly from anger to affection, from coldness to warmth, just to keep you confused. One moment she is cold and distant. The next moment she is overly loving. This push and pull dynamic creates an addictive cycle. Your brain gets wired to chase her approval, always wondering, what can I do to keep her in the loving mood? And without realizing, you are no longer living authentically. You are living to please her, to avoid her punishments, and to gain her temporary rewards. Financial manipulation is another form. She may make you feel obligated to spend beyond your means, buy things to prove your love, or support her lifestyle while giving nothing in return. If you refuse, she makes you feel guilty, as if you are not man enough or not generous enough. This slowly drains you, not just financially, but emotionally as well, because money becomes a weapon instead of a shared resource. What makes manipulative behavior so dangerous is that it destroys trust and creates dependency. A manipulative woman does not want equality in a relationship. She wants control. She thrives when you are weak, when you are confused, when you feel guilty. And the more you give in, the more power she gains. This is why people often stay tuck in such relationships for years. They don't leave because they think they are the problem. They think if they just change themselves, everything will get better. But the truth is, manipulation is never your fault. It is a deliberate choice by the other person to use your emotions against you. Let us also talk about the long-term effects of manipulation. When you are constantly told you are wrong, when your feelings are constantly dismissed, and when you are constantly made to apologize for things that were not your fault, you begin to lose yourself. You lose confidence, you lose your voice, and you lose your sense of self-worth. You become so entangled in pleasing her that you forget what it feels like to live freely. You are walking on eggshells every single day, trying to predict her mood, trying not to trigger her anger, trying not to be punished with silence or blame. That is not love. That is psychological imprisonment. Another thing about manipulative women is that they often disguise control as love. They will say, I just care about you. That's why I don't want you to spend time with certain friends, or I only get upset because I love you so much. But love does not need to control. Love does not need to isolate you from your support system. Love does not need to guilt you into submission. When she says it is love, but it feels like control, always trust your feelings, because manipulation is often dressed as care. It is also important to understand that manipulation works because of emotional hooks. She knows what you care about, she knows what you fear, and she knows what you desire. She will use these things against you. If you fear abandonment, she may threaten to leave. If you desire approval, she may withhold compliments until you meet her demands. If you value peace, she may create chaos until you give in. Every time you surrender to these tactics, the cycle gets stronger. So how do you recognize manipulation clearly? You recognize it by observing patterns. Do you often feel guilty without a clear reason? Do you question your own memory after conversations? Do you feel drained instead of uplifted? Do you feel like you are never good enough no matter what you do? If the answer is yes, chances are you are dealing with manipulation. Ladies and gentlemen, manipulation is one of the clearest signs of a bad woman, because a healthy woman will communicate openly. She will respect boundaries, and she will express her needs without twisting your emotions. But a manipulative woman cannot survive without control. Her power lies in your confusion, in your self-doubt, and in your guilt. The moment you see it clearly, the moment you stop excusing it, is the moment you begin to break free. Remember, this love should feel peaceful, not exhausting. It should make you stronger, not weaker. It should make you more confident, not doubtful. If you find yourself always doubting, always apologizing, and always walking on eggshells, then you are not in love. You are in manipulation, and recognizing it is the first step toward freedom. Respect is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. Without respect, love cannot survive for long. Without respect, trust cannot grow. Without respect, communication becomes toxic and intimacy loses its essence. When we talk about bad women, one of the most destructive signs you will notice is a lack of respect. And this lack of respect does not always come loudly. Sometimes it is subtle, almost invisible in the beginning, but with time it erodes your self-esteem and weakens the bond between you. Respect means valuing your thoughts, your feelings, your boundaries, your individuality, and your dignity. A good woman will acknowledge your opinions even if she disagrees. She will understand that you are not perfect, but still treat you with basic decency. A bad woman, however, will disregard these things. She will dismiss your feelings, laugh at your values, and act as if your boundaries are unimportant. And slowly, you start realizing that in her eyes, your worth is conditional and your voice does not matter. For example, imagine you are passionate about a dream, maybe building a business, maybe growing a career, or even pursuing a hobby. Instead of encouraging you, she mocks you. She says things like, "That will never work," or "Why waste your time on such nonsense?" At first, you might ignore it, thinking maybe she just doesn't understand. But over time, repeated belittlement chips away at your confidence. You begin to doubt yourself, not because your dream is impossible, but because someone close to you keeps disrespecting it. That is not love. That is disrespect in disguise. A lack of respect also shows when she disregards your boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are healthy guidelines that protect relationships from harm. If you say you need space, she ignores it. If you say you don't like being insulted during arguments, she still does it. If you ask her not to share private matters with others, she tells them anyway. This repeated violation sends one message: your boundaries do not matter. And when someone cannot respect your boundaries, it is only a matter of time before the relationship becomes suffocating. Disrespect can also be verbal. Some women use sarcasm, criticism, or insults as their normal language. Every mistake you make is exaggerated, every weakness is mocked, and every success is minimized. Instead of appreciation, you receive judgment. Instead of kindness, you receive harsh words. People often underestimate the power of words, but words can build or break. A woman who consistently uses words to tear you down instead of building you up is not nurturing your growth. She is feeding on your insecurities. Then there is public disrespect. A bad woman may embarrass you in front of others, interrupt you constantly, or expose your weaknesses to friends and family. She may think it is harmless, but it is not. Public humiliation leaves scars. It makes you feel small, powerless, and unworthy. And the sad truth is many men tolerate this kind of disrespect because they confuse it with playfulness. But make no mistake, when someone ridicules you in front of others, it is not love, it is a lack of respect. Another layer of disrespect is seen in decision M. In a healthy relationship, decisions are shared. Even if one partner has more knowledge in a certain area, the other's opinion is still considered. A bad woman, however, dismisses your input. She makes choices that affect both of you without consulting you. She acts as though your voice is irrelevant. Over time, this creates a power imbalance where you feel like a passenger in your own relationship. And when your opinions are always ignored, you stop speaking up, which is exactly how disrespect breeds silence. Lack of respect is also visible in how she values your time. If she constantly arrives late, cancels plans without explanation, or interrupts your work without care, she is sending the message that her time matters more than yours. Respect means acknowledging that both lives have value. When she disregards your commitments, it is not a small issue. It is a pattern of disrespect that tells you she does not see your priorities as important. Let us also talk about respect for individuality. Every person has their own identity, their own interests, and their own circle. A respectful woman allows space for individuality while still building connection. A disrespectful one tries to control, dictate, or mold you into someone else. She may criticize how you dress, who you meet, or how you spend your free time. She tries to erase your uniqueness and replace it with her expectations. But a relationship is not about control. It is about acceptance. When a woman cannot accept you as you are, it is a sign of disrespect that will only deepen with time. Emotional disrespect can also show in how she treats your vulnerability. If you open up about your fears or ruggles instead of supporting you, she uses them against you later in arguments. Imagine telling her you fear failure, and in the next conflict she says, "Of course you'll fail, you're useless." That kind of disrespect is not just painful, it is cruel. Vulnerability should be sacred in a relationship, not ammunition. Another way disrespect surfaces is through comparison. When a woman constantly compares you to other men, saying things like, "Look at him, he's more successful," or "Why can't you be more like him?" She is not inspiring you, she is belittling you. Constant comparison is one of the fastest ways to kill self-worth. It creates insecurity, jealousy, and resentment, none of which are healthy for love. Now the question is, why do some people tolerate disrespect for so long? The answer lies in hope and fear. Many believe the woman will change, others fear losing her or being alone. But the truth is, disrespect only gets worse when tolerated. When someone realizes they can get away with mocking, ignoring, or devaluing you, they continue. Respect must be demanded, not begged for. Because the way someone treats you is often a reflection of what you allow. The long-term effects of being with a disrespectful woman are devastating. You begin to lose your self-identity. You begin to shrink instead of grow. You begin to feel that your voice, your dreams, and your worth do not matter. And once this pattern becomes normal, it becomes very difficult to break free. That is why recognizing disrespect early is crucial. Ladies and gentlemen, respect is not a luxury. It is a necessity. A bad woman shows her true nature through a consistent lack of respect, disrespecting your time, your boundaries, your opinions, your individuality, and your dignity. And once you identify this pattern, you must ask yourself, do you want to spend your life proving your worth to someone who never valued it in the first place? The reality is simple. Love without respect is just attraction. Care without respect is just convenience. A relationship without respect is not partnership. It is imprisonment. Do not mistake disrespect for normal behavior. Do not excuse it as mood swings, and do not justify it as love, because love cannot exist where respect is absent. The healthiest relationships are not built on passion alone. They are built on mutual respect, where both partners feel valued, heard, and appreciated. And if you do,